Mr. Chairman, members of the head table, comrades, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I thank you for your patience and your presence, and I want to begin by expressing thanks to the officers and the members of the Democratic Labour Party St. Philip branches for allowing me to address you all this evening. In 2007, I remember spending All Year's Night in St. Philip and was able to report publicly then that I felt a fresh breeze from the east. And I get a sense and I get a feeling that a new breeze is blowing and trying to blow away the vestiges of despotism and dishonesty and dishonor that may be trying to afflict this fair land of ours. But before I get into my substantive comments, I think we should also recognize the significance of our Olympians who did so well in Tokyo. But this is not just an opportunity to offer congratulations, but to urge the government to take the development of sport seriously, because our athletes urgently need a new stadium to prepare for Paris 2024. I also want to recognize all of those who are agitating for freedoms to be preserved as citizens and who are pushing against authoritarian notions of no vaccine, no work. And again, I share the sentiment of Comrade Neil in saying that we need to preserve our Independence Day. As Comrade James said earlier, the Democratic Labour Party of late has had a series of leadership challenges. And I'm not talking about the current leadership. In the 1990s, we witnessed the rise of the NDP, the BTA appointment fiasco, and the vote of no confidence that followed. We then saw, in the millennium, the rise of the Arthurian politics of inclusion that saw many of our members drift away. And then, more recently, we experienced that 2018 routing at the polls. And in all of these unresolved conflicts, there were two major losers. Obviously, the Democratic Labour Party, but more importantly, the people of Barbados. It is important to recognize that Barbados is DLP country. The Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow. Barbados is DLP country. The Right Excellent Errol Walton Barrow, the father of independence and this great economic and social reformer, created a legacy that some now are desperately trying to undo. In 1976, in 1994, and 2018, persons turned to the opposing party when we, the Democratic Labour Party, let them down. And we have to do better so that we can guarantee their confidence and their support going forward this next time. And this is not just about getting power or returning to government. The reality is Bajans are suffering. And we cannot just blame COVID-19, because the reality is we are managing our situation worse than most countries in the world. According to the World Bank, Last year, the economy of Barbados contracted by 17.6%. It was one of the 10 worst economic performances globally. We were not at the bottom, we were under the foot. That is a reality. And notwithstanding all of those so-called economic gurus that are on the taxpayers' payroll. According to the IMF, last year our debt to GDP ratio was 147%. Again, Barbados is now is the 7th most indebted country in the world. This is the doing of this current regime. And on top of that, our tourism sector still is lacking leadership and struggling for strategic focus. Little thought, big blunder, they haven't got over it yet. And then we have our international business and financial sector made vulnerable because we have decided not to go along with the major countries and CARICOM, trying to be part of this OECD tax regime. The government is off the rails and doing as they please. And it is for this party to get itself back into gear and to be able to offer to the people of Barbados a strategic and viable alternative to say we can do better, we will do better, and we are ready to do better. And while this government is mismanaging our economic affairs, we are struggling to make ends meet. Barbados is ranked the 8th most expensive country to live in the world. And we know that because we are going in the supermarkets, we are paying for gas, we are trying to buy feed, we are trying to pay the taxes and the levies that keep going up and up and up. And at the same time, there is no work. They talk about an unemployment figure that everybody knows does not reflect the reality, because we know how many of our friends and relatives don't have work. And the government has no response to how it is trying to reposition our economy to create new spaces and new opportunities for our young and for our unemployed and for this economy to be able to withstand external shocks in the future. And in the midst of all that we are going through, this regime now wants to tell us that we are likely to lose our Independence Day to a Republic Day that no one seems to want. And I thank Comrade Neil to explain all of the inefficiencies and all of the discontinuities and all of the confusion with what this regime is trying to do with this. And he made an important point that they seemingly want to replace the greatest son of our soil, the father of independence, with a Republican mother. They want to replace the father of independence with a Republican mother who is still far off from creating any kind of legacy that is going to stand the test of time. You realize what had transpired when we were told about this republicanism thing? What happened that day? Alan Chastanet in St. Lucia get put out after one term. The people of St. Lucia said, no, we don't want that salesmanship, we want leadership. We don't want PR. We want substantive policies and programs. We want somebody who does not just say, we want somebody to do. And our party has to be ready and ready itself to deliver for the people of Barbados what they have been wanting for so long. And the reality is, as Comrade Neil said, becoming a republic should be the expressed will of the people, not the aspirations of any leader. We as a nation subscribe to a democracy, not authoritarianism. And that must be the history and the legacy we leave to our children and our children's children. And then in all of this, with insufficient vaccines available in Barbados to vaccinate those who would like to, and with no guarantee of free and easy access to PCR tests, and with uncertainty of the efficacy of certain vaccinations, and you hear now they're talking about a booster and a third vaccine, and with legislation, and this is important, which legislation that makes using people's medical status to determine their employability unlawful. Some want to trample on individual rights by saying no vaccine, no work. It is unacceptable and repugnant to anyone who believes in democracy and informed choice. Like Comrade Neil said, I am fully vaccinated and I support vaccination, but I believe in persuasion, not intimidation. We again must hold true to our tradition of democracy and not despotism. But where, and this is where we need to look inward, where is the Democratic Labour Party in all of this? We have to ask ourselves serious questions. What is our level of readiness to contest the next election? Do we have an election strategy? Do people know what our policies and positions are on issues? Are our branches energized? Do we have the financial resources to mount a successful constituency and national campaigns? Are we really ready to offer ourselves to the people of Barbados as the next government? These are serious questions that we must ask ourselves, but more importantly, that the leadership of the Democratic Labour Party must be able to give credible answers to. And as Comrade James said, there are those who want to make an issue of how I look or how I sound or where I come from, but I am not going to be sidetracked. I came to the DLP and the people of Barbados offering myself as the next leader because I believe in our party, I believe in our country, and I believe that Barbados deserves better leadership than is now on offer. And I tell people all the time, this is not about me. This is not even just about the DLP. This is about all of we. All of we as Bajans are dealing with this same crisis of leadership. Leadership, like all other competencies, whether you're good at sports or good at academics, all of them are developed through effort. Leadership matures when you're willing to take risks and work hard and stretch yourself and step out of your comfort zone. Contrary to popular belief, leadership is not something you are born with or something you inherit. Leaders are made when they connect their purpose and their strengths with a deep passion to make a difference to the people in the world around them. I am not born to lead, I am willing to serve. So I come here to the members of the St. Philip branches to offer myself as the leader of the Democratic Labour Party, because too many questions about our election readiness cannot be answered in the affirmative. I offer myself to be the next leader of the Democratic Labour Party because you, the members of this party, and the people of Barbados encouraged me to do so. I offer myself as the next leader of the Democratic Labour Party because we have seen more energy in this party in the last 3 months than we have in the last 3 years. And I offer myself as the next leader of the Democratic Labour Party because, as I said, Barbados is DLP country. And we have a responsibility to that legacy bequeathed to us both by Errol Barrow, the other founding members, and more importantly, the people of Barbados. If we let our side down, we don't just let down the party, we are going to let down this country. As I said before, I come here wanting to be the leader of the Democratic Labour Party, not because of me or not just because of the DLP. It is because of all of we as Bajans. We deserve better. Barbados deserves better. And as I coined with some colleagues in another space, we can get better together. We can get better together. All we have to do is believe in what we are doing, take the necessary choices, put aside sentiment and career, and decide what we need for this party and this country. And I say to you, colleagues, I am prepared to take this journey with you. Together, we can aspire. Together, we can achieve. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you.